Hey everyone, Jeff Sart from the Practical Drummer here. We'll talk a little bit about warming up. So in most anything, it's really crucial to warm up, right? So I play golf, I weightlift, I do kung fu practice, and each of these things I take about 10 or 15 minutes to warm my body up with stretches, swinging the golf club a little bit, you know, just stretching the hips out, doing some squats and some lunges, maybe hanging from the bar, those kind of things. Drumming is also a physical thing, right? So we need to, instead of just go down and start playing, we need to kind of loosen our wrists up, loosen our our hips up, and our quad muscles, and the ankles and all those kind of things. So your body needs to kind of warm up, right? And what I like to do is to just kind of keep a tempo, okay? And I just like to start playing 16th notes around the kit, right? In various ways, double strokes, single strokes. Something like that, right? So if you hit a double, you're going to be reversing, so you're going to lead with the left hand, which is kind of cool. You can also start adding in the bass drum. I like to, with the right hand, just go 1 E and 2 E and something like that, right? So I'm alternating, I went from right hand to left hand and then both hands. So, again, it's just 1 E and 2 E and right? But up to speed. I've got a pulse going on the left foot, always with this, because I want to do these in time, all right? I don't want to just kind of freeform them. I want to try to make some time out of it so that I get that internal clock going as well, okay? So there's some ideas for you right there. You might want to do some rough kind of things like 4-stroke roughs, which would be 16-note triplets, the beginning or the end of a 16-note triplet. One hand. Maybe adding the bass drum after it. So if it's 1 and okay, something like that. So then one other thing is 3-note groupings with 16 notes. So right left foot, right? So that's going to be a polyrhythmic thing. Or, with 2 hands instead, right, hand, foot. So I just kind of solo around the kit, just loosening myself up, okay? So that was no particular glorious solo or anything, and that's not what it's meant to be, right? So, again, when you feel sufficiently warmed up, you kind of sometimes stretch the wrists out. What I want to show you guys today is a fill that I just made up, and I've shown you variations of this before, but I just thought of something more interesting with it. So, but the groove of the day is going to be this, I also like to warm up with just a kind of an up-tempo jazz kind of thing, where I'm keeping a one, right? So it's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, but it's up to speed. So again, it's a triple stroke on the ride or the hi-hat. You could do it over here too. 1. Okay. So with that going, with the left foot and the right hand going, I want to add in various bass drum configurations and snare drum configurations, okay, to warm up. So that might sound like this. Again, I'm not coming up with any groove for it right now, but I'm just kind of letting my limbs kind of go against the ostinato, okay? So I'll try a couple here. So again, you know, just kind of warming my limbs up to go against this ostinato. And if you can't do the ostinato yet, then you need to slow stuff down, right? Even painfully slow, and get your hands and feet able to play any part of the 16th note against this rhythm, so you don't have to mess up, okay? So once you get that going on, I want to show you a fill, but I want to just kind of groove. Now I want to put the snare drum on 2 and 4 and just try to come up with some kind of tasty groove, okay? So if I have this ostinato going, 1 and 2 and 3, or actually I had 1 and 2. I'll get the snare drum going, here we go. So I just messed the fill up there, but there you go, right? So I'm starting to come up with a groove, and that was basically 2 and 4. I added some interesting different accents as well, some ghost note kind of things, right? Again, all these things you need to work out in practice. So if you can't play anything according to the ostinato, then you got to break it down. Tried some different bass drum patterns, so you know, get kind of a funky fusion feel. But the main event today, so it's not really the groove that I'm worried about here. It's the fill I want to show you. Okay, so I've shown you this before, where it's it's 1 and so you're doubling up the E, right, with hand to hand. 1 E and so you're adding in the 32nd note in between E and, but it comes in the form of a left hand. 1 instead of 1 E and it's 1 E and but up to speed. Made famous by Dave Weckl, right? He's the master at doing these kind of rough fills. But here it is. What I want to do is get creative with that and make it polyrhythmic as well. So if it's, I'm going to extend it into the 2/3 actually. So I'm going to add an extra couple 16th notes at the end of it. So I'm going to go 1 E and 2 E and da 3 E and 4 E and okay, so let me play it up to speed. One more time. And I'm going to do that twice actually, okay? So it's going to be a 2-bar fill. Exact same fill, just twice. Okay, so that's pretty fat. Sounds pretty cool, right? So up to speed. So again, it's 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so the bass drum falls on the 1, the and of 2, and the 4. Okay? 2, 3, 4. So let's see if I have a. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you got to make sure that the is pronounced, right? 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1, right? So you got to make sure that that quick da 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 is pronounced. Okay, so I like this because it kind of goes around the drums. It goes around and then it starts back to a previous drum, and it goes again, and then it starts back at a previous drum and then finishes it, right? So it's kind of an interesting circular kind of, you know, maybe because I've been into Kung Fu lately, there's a lot of circular motions. Just came up with this in the practice lab just now. So let me just play this, see if I can pull it off on live TV. I'll get a groove going, then jam this fill out, okay? Here's the tempo. 1, 2. Okay, so, you know, I was struggling to get a groove going with those 8 measures. I really wanted to pull the fill off on the 7th and 8th measure, so I didn't do that. So then I just kind of went into a 4-measure phrase and showed you, you know, so I didn't keep going on. But I was, you know, just trying to find a groove. It wasn't really clicking. So, you know, if I had more time, I might come up with a, you know, reproducible fill groove, but for this intensive purpose of this video, really it's just the fill to get that out to you guys. Okay, so practice that up, warm up, do some of these different rhythms for warming up. Try this fill out in your practice or even in your play. So practice it, but then try it in your next gig. You will love this. It's really awesome to pull this off in a strategic time in a song. Sounds delightful. Listen to a lot of Dave Weckl and you hear what I'm talking about. Okay, take care.